5 defeats on the spin, manager under massive pressure, and last-minute signings trying to stop the ship from sinking. The most controversial call of the season has split Bramall Lane right down the middle, and now the new lads are begging the fans to stick together. Can this disaster still be turned around, or are Sheffield United heading for the worst start to a season in decades? Stick with me till the end and I'll tell you the whole truth. Sheffield United are living through the worst nightmare possible, and here's exactly how they ended up in this bottomless hole. Remember the playoff final? Of course you do. It broke every Blade's heart. But what came after was even worse. Picture this. The side finished third with 90 points, reached the playoff final after smashing Bristol City 6-0 on aggregate. Perfect chance to bounce back to the Premier League at the first attempt. Then they lose to Sunderland in the dying moments, and 3 weeks later the gaffer, who masterminded the whole campaign, gets the boot. What sort of logic is that? Truth is, there's no logic at all. The man who dragged this club out of League One and back into the Premier League, the most successful manager in the club's history, was shown the door because the new American board wanted to do things their own way. And who did they bring in? A Spaniard who had just been sacked by Hull City after nearly taking them down to the 3rd tier. A coach who only kept Hull up on goal difference and was now expected to work miracles at United. Does that make any sense? Honestly, it's one of the most questionable moves this club has made in years. The fans were split, some still backing their old boss, others doubting his ways. But look at the result, 5 defeats in 5 games. What should have been a fresh start turned into a total shambles. Opening day of the season, hammered 4-1 by the very same Bristol City they had thrashed in the playoffs. How does that happen? My take is the squad's heads weren't right after all that chaos. Then came a cup defeat, 3 more losses in the league, and now they're rock bottom of the championship, the only side in the entire EFL without a single point. 5 hours without scoring in the league, enough to break any supporter's heart. But it doesn't stop there. The transfer market was an absolute horror show that explains a lot of this mess. Key players gone, the starting centre half, the midfielder who drove the team forward, and the striker who popped up in the big games. And the signings? Honestly, it was embarrassing. At the start of the season, there were only 2 new loanees. Even the manager admitted the club hadn't done anywhere near enough in the window. So what did they do? 10 days before the deadline, they brought in 2 completely unknown players from the Bulgarian league using this so-called AI approach. AI for signing footballers? Absolute madness. Football's about heart, not algorithms. In the end, they scrambled 9 signings on deadline day, including a seasoned striker from West Ham, a defender on loan from Everton, and another centre-back who had been on the previous manager's list. But was it too little, too late? A former midfielder from Reading and Watford didn't mince his words, calling the summer a complete mess. And I couldn't agree more. How can you build a competitive side when you start the season with barely any reinforcements and only go shopping at the last minute? And now, right in the middle of this chaos, one of the deadline day defenders is calling for unity. This lad left a side that had just been relegated from the Championship to League One and has walked straight into an even worse situation. But listen to what he said. It's important that everyone backs each other, whether it's the manager, the players, or the staff around the place. Question is there still time to salvage this season? I reckon he's right about sticking together, but will the fans really buy into it after all this? The defender admitted it's been 2 crazy weeks since he joined. Hard graft in training, quick adaptation, trying to get his head around a system that clearly isn't working. He reckons the quality's there and it's just a matter of time before things improve. But is it really? The stats don't lie. This is United's worst start outside the top flight since 1995-96. Back then, they also lost their first 5 matches, sat second bottom at Christmas, but just about survived after a managerial change. So will history repeat itself? The clock's ticking, and every match without a win piles even more pressure on everyone. Next up is Ipswich, also still chasing their first victory of the season. It could be the golden chance to finally break this cursed run, or yet another defeat that leaves the boss hanging by a thread. Let me be straight with you. Sheffield United are in the middle of their worst crisis in years, and it's only going to get worse if the fans don't pull together. But I want to hear from you. Was it right to sack the manager who led one of the best campaigns in recent times just 3 weeks after the playoff final? And what about those last-minute signings? Can they really turn things around, or did they arrive far too late to make a difference? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what every single one of you thinks about this mess. If you're a passionate Blade or just love English football, this is the place for you. We don't shy away from the truth here, even when it stings. We break down every move, every call, every transfer with the passion this game deserves. So stick with us on this ride. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and smash that like button if you enjoyed the content. Share it with a mate who needs to know about these exclusive updates. And tell me, do you still believe this nightmare can be turned around? Or are United doomed to another season of suffering? Comment down below. I read them all and reply to as many as I can. See you in the next video, folks. Keep the faith, because football always shows us that everything can change in 90 minutes.